Hello, it's Nicky and welcome back. I have not only a four-part series, but a four-part series times two, because I've got a lot to say on this. And I thought it would be interesting to check in with some practical things you can do right now. So the purpose of this series of videos is I am recording this early November 2024. 10 years ago, I know, can you believe it? Well, you don't know, but I can't believe it sometimes. But then in other ways, I'm like, of course it's 10 years. 10 years ago, I changed my life. And I don't say that lightly. And whether or not I would do it in this way right now, as a nearly 43-year-old, with two children, with a house, with a partner, with adult responsibilities. But I did it then. And I believed at the time it was the right decision, and I still believe that it was the right decision. I made a commitment to myself. Firstly, let me backtrack. I knew that I could continue down one path very easily. I was good at it. I could get stronger. I could elevate within that. It was making me happy. Equally, I knew there was this other side of me that was not being tapped into. And this first thing was not what I set out to do. And I knew that there were other things that were really calling me. I wanted to become a mum. I wanted to have much more flexibility. I wanted to be more creative. I wanted to hone my coaching skills. I had my qualification by this point. And I knew that I needed capacity to do that. And so I made the bold decision 10 years ago to go all in to essentially running my own gig and not having anything in my diary or any long-term commitments essentially to anyone or any place. And that was scary on paper, but in my soul, in my action, in my mind, in my energy, I was like, this is the right thing. This is so great, and this is what I need to do next. And very quickly after November 2014, I got pregnant in January 2015. Sorry, those dates are like really weird to say. 2015. And I then changed my day rate to my hourly rate, and so many different doors opened. The way that I worked, the way that I lived, and it really was the beginning of a new chapter. And so this week, I want to talk about what happened 10 years ago. And then next week, I'm going to be talking about another change that happened 5 years after that, approximately, where my whole business, it basically had an upgrade, and what that looked and felt like. And I think that's another stage that I want to talk about, because maybe you, and I work with two sets of people, I guess. This is why I'm sharing it. Some people who are going, right, I'm ready to go all in. I've got to change this around. What's happening right now is not working, so let's go. And then I also have those people who are like, do you know what? I'm like swimming in these paddling pool areas, metaphorically, and I'm seeing that there's a bigger pool over there. And I think I'm ready to swim in it, but I'm scared, or I'm not sure how to do it. And so I want to share these two pivotal moments. So if you're not following or subscribing, do so, because there's going to be loads. Today I'm talking about goal setting. Tomorrow I'll talk about money. Wednesday about speaking and content and all that great thing. And Thursday about your future self. So let's go back. It's November 2014. I had this epiphany 9 months before, and I had that moment of, is this it? And if I continue in this way for the next, say, 10 years, is this going to fulfill all of the boxes that I want to tick? And the answer was no. And I think sometimes that raw honesty is difficult because we are so lucky in our time, in our generation, with the internet, with the options, that we get to do what we love. And I never take that for granted. And I think sometimes we can be comfortable with saying, well, everything's good, like it's fine and it's doing what it needs to do. But I also knew that when I made that move to come down to London in 2000, that was a huge stretch, not only for me, but for my family, for the way that we all moved together. Like so many things were going on. And I thought, I haven't come this far to close off all of these other things. And now it's time to look at where I go next. So the first thing that I want to say was, I set myself up for success, but also reality. So I figured it out 9 months before, and then I cut down some hours, and then finally in the November, after cutting the hours down in the summer, I made the decision, like, right, I've got to go, I've got to figure this out. And again, thinking about where I'm up to now with a house and kids and responsibilities, before, not that I'm thinking about a career change, but if I suddenly was like, do you know what? I'm now going to do beauty therapy. I've been doing a night school. Like, I would not be letting my coaching stuff go for a long time until I would have that regular income and that regular flow of clients. But what I had to do then was really set up myself for success. So those people were like, oh, it's probably not, is there any money in this coaching thing, or whatever people were saying. I had to believe that all of it was possible, but equally have that sense of reality. I wasn't just going to ask the universe for something one day and then the whole thing, completely fully formed and finished, would turn up the next day. I knew that that wouldn't be the case. But I tell you what, because I set myself up for success, and because I showed up to every room, every discovery call, every pitch, every coffee I went on with this, I am ready, let's go, the most amazing things happened. And I got this really great gig that was brilliant. It was so good during my pregnancy. It was excellent money-wise. It really changed things financially for me at that time. And that happened because somebody happened to see me doing something and came up to me and she was like, do you do this all the time? Can we, and then, suddenly offering a contract for a lovely amount of money. And that was a perfect switch over for me. Number 2, I had to listen to my instincts and be committed to the plan and really notice the shape of my nervous system. It's so easy for us all to listen to a book or a podcast. I'm sure you've heard dozens of them where people go, I just sold everything I owned and then went all in. And if you don't do that, you're not serious. Even me saying that makes me feel sick. And I have always known that I have to look after myself. I have to and now I have to take care of my kids, obviously, as well. But I have to protect myself. So I began having some slightly awkward conversations about money with friends. I can't afford to do that. I'm working on my business right now, so I'm not going to be able to come for the 3 nights. I can only come for 1, because I knew that ultimately, even if I was going to disappoint people by not doing what they wanted me to do, I knew that I had to live with me at 3 a.m. in the morning. I knew that it was down to me to pay my bills. Like there wasn't a safety net. There wasn't a well, just do this for a bit. And then if you don't like it or you just want a day off, somebody will nobody was stepping in. And so I think that this is really important to Be in the reality of what you can hold, and not just do that thing of the fantasy of, oh, my back was against the wall and I lost everything and then I just rebuilt from there. It's so easy for people to say that in hindsight. But if you're in that stretchy position, you're not just going, let's just rebuild in a jolly way. You are often broken, and it needs a lot of rehabilitation as you go through that navigation. Number 3, I got really clear on the small, simplistic solutions that I could offer to get the money in. Almost as though if it was a plant that I was growing, the first time you get one flower or one like new leaf on a plant, you're like, oh my gosh, it's working, it's growing, it's happening. And that can give you the most amount of confidence. And so I did some like quite bizarre things that, or I did a lot of kind of coaching sessions for actors, specifically around things that I don't do anymore, but they were so great at being able to package up my skill set now and to be able to offer that. And I think sometimes people are trying to grow all of the things. They're trying to grow the program and the course and the one-to-one sessions. But if you want to, like, you can't do all of those things. Whatever you need to do to get the first money in, because once that money's coming in, because I tell you what, that money is going out, once that money comes in, it's so great for momentum and that sense of like, oh my goodness, I'm making money from this. Number 4, I was suddenly not accountable to anybody else. I had Monday to Sunday if I wanted, all of the hours to make this work. So I had to get very, very structured. I had monthly goals, I had quarterly goals, and I also had daily goals, but not just things that were on my to-do list. I wrote my to-do list, like what's the thing that's going to move the needle? Because I tell you what, you can also get really busy in Facebook groups, answering comments, chatting in the DMs, whatever it might be, but you're there to grow your business. And so I had to ask myself each and every day, what am I doing today? What's the point of today? What do I want to get done? And then I wrote down a done list as well. This happened. Great. I heard back from that thing. I got 2 more people following me on Instagram. I sent a newsletter and 47 people read it. I did all of those things because, again, when you're growing, when you're starting a new chapter, when you're going for a goal, and remember, like, not everybody does this. Most people sit on the sidelines and just have a little chat about this. So the fact that you are doing this, you have to pat yourself on the back, because there will be some people who go, how's your business doing? Is it all right? And you can't answer that in 2 sentences, or maybe you don't know them enough. So you end up just going, yeah, it's fine. And that's why you need that sense that, yes, it is fine and it's going in the right direction and it's all good and it's going to be great. Number 5, I became very acutely aware of my gaps. And this completely contradicts who I am in life. I am a self-starter, I'm proactive, and it always said it on my school reports. Nicky is determined. I'm like, yes, I am, and I watch it in my daughter as well. However, those skills, those superpowers have an opposite reaction as well. Sometimes that means you don't get the help quick enough. Sometimes you dig your heels in and you're like, no, I can do this, it'll be fine, and I'm going to learn and it's going to be okay. As soon as I started to look and take notice of where my gaps were and get the help to move me there, instead of just going, that's when things began to move. And I wouldn't give up my determination and my self-starting abilities. However, I would complement them. I would accompany them with that sense of it's okay to ask for help. And also, it's important to pay for it. Now, I've had so much brilliant free information from YouTube. Thank you very much. But those moments when I needed to move, I needed to progress, that's when the payment came in. I had to have some skin in the game and put my money where my mouth was. I hope this has been useful. Come back tomorrow. It's going to get juicy. Do subscribe and check out the goal setting page on my website. Lots of love. Bye.